But we will begin on the hard court in Utah, where game one between the Clippers and the Utah Jazz was a tale of two halves. And I can't even remember now who I picked. I think I picked LA, and I think you picked Utah based on our last podcast. Um, I put my faith in the two wings, Kawhi and Paul George, and the Clippers' ability to go small. But in this game, they get a poor performance from Paul George, who has been great all playoffs. But of course, the playoff P moniker is coming back to haunt him every time he has a subpar performance, which is fair when you are a guy getting paid the max and expected to produce every single night. And it was a back and forth affair. Utah missed 21 shots in a row at one point in the first quarter and only finished that quarter down six, which was a bad sign for the Clippers. But then on the other side, second half, Utah absolutely on fire. Donovan Mitchell takes over. I believe he had 42 in this game. And then even then, it only ends up being a 3-point game. We have a Marcus Morris 3-pointer attempt blocked by Rudy Gobert near the end of the game. It definitely signaled the theme of that game that night, and it truly, the results of this last week has shown me that it still is important to be a top 2 seed in the NBA, because we did have some lower seeds that people were all over. Of course, Golden State, if they had made it, and of course the Lakers, the defending champs. Dallas, everyone was very excited for. We have Denver progressing, just and like a Miami Heat team that everyone was excited to see because of their finals run last year. A lot of lower seeds were getting buzz, but you're 1 or 2 in your conference for a reason. It means you've put together a consistently remarkable effort from everyone in your lineup, because you're not going to have everyone healthy all the time. Health is a big part of success, and Utah and Phoenix had a lot of that, and Philadelphia as well, minus a large Joel Embiid injury. But there's a reason why they're top 2 seeds, and Utah showed that tonight. Mitchell was fantastic. No Mike Conley. Rudy Gobert looked like he could hang. And there are times when Gobert has been exposed on the perimeter, but that is usually by lightning quick guards who can really threaten an outside shot and then take him off the dribble. Steph Curry, obviously the main one, but as well, Ja Morant was using his quickness and his floater game to really expose Gobert in a pick and roll. Whereas when Utah is switching at the top, Kawhi, Paul George, Marcus Morris, whoever it is that's a little bit bigger wing, they don't necessarily have that same explosiveness, and Gobert can hang with them a little bit easier than those smaller, quicker guards. And so far, that was something I noticed in this first game. And obviously it shows itself on that last play when he can recover for the block on the 3-pointer. But I think Gobert is going to actually have a much larger defensive impact on this series than I initially thought, because of the Clippers' ability to spread things out and try and pull him away from the rim. He's greatly improved at his perimeter defense, and I think he can recover on some of those rotations.
Yeah, I guess they'll try and punish him with Jackson a little, who was great against the Mavericks at times, but hard to get too much consistency over 7 games there, do you think? Or what do you expect?
Yeah, it's a great point that you make. Reggie Jackson had been averaging 18 points per game starting in game 2 against Dallas. And then, of course, they needed him tonight. He fouls out. And also, like he was averaging 18 points, but when it's not Kawhi, when it's not Paul George, you just are never sure you're going to get that consistent performance from your role guys every night. They're going to need Reggie Jackson to be great, and he definitely is an X factor for if he can run out there with other wings and space the floor and be able to attack when they switch. But this Utah team, man, they play great team defense. They're able to scramble and recover. All 5 of the guys on the floor on a string and play really solid help defense and rotational defense. And the Clippers might have to do a little bit more mismatch hunting than they were doing last night. And Kawhi's got to get the ball a ton more. He did not get the ball enough in that fourth quarter. But I don't want to take that away from the other side, where Donovan Mitchell, man, it seems like he's taking that step. And Dwayne Wade was in attendance, part owner of the Utah Jazz. giving him some tips from his courtside seat and cheering him on. And Mitchell was simply fantastic, an absolute flamethrower in the third quarter, hit some deep, deep threes, was attacking, splitting double teams when they tried to kind of trap him off of a high screen, and breaking through and attacking the rim in his patented way, jumping off 2 feet, using a variety of different moves to finish and or draw fouls. And I think there's a little bit of that cliche playoff lumps are coming through for him, where he's figured out the tempo he wants to play at, and he knows late in the game that the ball can go through him and he can make a play, because now he's had those series where Utah had to go 4-5 against Oklahoma City with Paul George and Russell Westbrook a couple years ago. And then in the bubble last year, you had that duel with Jamal Murray. And Utah certainly had to take their lumps. And this team, the number one seed, this is as good a chance they have as any. And a lot of that's going to ride on Mitchell. And he seems up to the task, at least in game one. You never want to overreact too much, but it's a great result for Utah to make a statement.
Yeah, there's no substitute for experience.